Well, hey there, YouTube. It's Petey. I'm sorry I've got the air conditioning on. I've been making videos in here for a while, and it's a bit warm for my wife and I to endure. So you get good quality audio. I apologize about that. So this video, I wanted to talk about the micro rig, mini rig. I've been doing this downsizing stuff. First off, we won an online auction for these PV speakers. So these are PV Impulse. They're plastic, 6.5-inch woofer, and then a 19mm titanium tweeter. We did modify them. We put these 1/4-inch inputs because they came with just permanent installation screw terminals that were unmarked. So I painted. Actually, I think my wife did that. It's nail polish, and they were installed incorrectly. They had the polarity flip-flopped. So interestingly enough, and these are really good sounding little speakers. They're a little bit on the heavy side, but man, do they sound good. So this got the gears spinning, and I thought, what about that old mini mixer that I built with the, it's got a power amp and an MP3. So here's the MP3, and then there's a jack here that goes down to a foot switch to start, stop, rewind, or fast forward. If you plug a like a headphone type cable, like a 3-channel cable, 3 wires in it, into this little 1/8-inch port here, and also I think the rewind button. This might be fast forward, rewind over here, and then pause have been duplicated. So you don't have to use the front panel, these little clicky tiny buttons. You can actually use these larger buttons that I've installed. Inside of here, there's a preamp for one of the channels. It's a stereo preamp, NE5532, genuine Texas Instruments NE5532 that I installed over here. It came with a fake, and then it's a Class D power amp. There's these battery trays here, 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 and here. There's some extra fuses in a little baggie there. So those batteries, they power the MP3, the little preamp circuit, and the mixer here. There's a power cable here. Here's an output to go to the amp, and here is the output from the MP3 going into the mixer. So we can get to the location we're going to play. We plop this down. We plug our speakers in. We have a right and a left and a sub, which we'll get to that. And then here's the external power for the power amp, and that is here. This is the power brick for the power amp. It has a switch and a fuse. Here's where the fuse lives. So you unscrew this if you need to replace the fuse, and then here's the power cable. So this puts out 24 volts, and it is a dozen 18650 cells, which are these. So you slap this down, plug that into the powered mixer. You plug speaker cable from the powered mixer into your satellites. There's two of these, right and left speakers, and then an additional cable for the subwoofer, which is this. And don't let this fool you. This is new. This had right and left stereo input and right and left stereo output. So this was designed for you to have a 2-channel amplifier, a 300 watt amp, and you would run your inputs into it, and then the right and left speaker would connect to this. And I have that driver. It was a subwoofer. It's the center cone is like that big, and it was kind of lightweight. Like I don't want to say it was kind of lightweight. For a commercial little pea shooter sub, it was considerable. It was nice. What I put in here, I'm going to pop the speaker grill off, and we're going to show you the speaker. This is an Eminence bass guitar speaker, okay? And when I just got this sub, it was $5 at the Goodwill, and I did notice that you can see here, Chicky Babeatin, every time I make a video, the cat's meow. The fabric has begun to tear. So yesterday I bought an 8-inch speaker, a metal speaker grill with the 4 corner things. That's coming, and we'll install that in a month when it arrives from China. So I got this sub. It was $5. We hooked it up to a 30 watt by 30 watt. I think it's rated. It's a pile of shit, man. It's a pile little amp that you plug into the wall, and it's got a big volume control. That thing, I got it from Goodwill, and like, it's got 4 input channels on it with a clicker. 3 of them are kind of, one of the channels, like, sometimes it cuts out, and if you wiggle it, it'll come in full. But the other channel, when you go all the way down to the, like I think it's video, maybe it's called, that channel is stable. So I had taken it apart and cleaned all the potentiometers and put it back together. I don't want to say it's a nice little amp. It's made by Pile, so it is what it is. We probably paid, I want to say like $6.99 for it, which is all it's worth. But we tested this system out here. We used the PV mains. Oh, Chicky Babeatin, come and have a treat. Come and have a little treat. Do you want a huggy? Do you need tension? He needs some tension. He's a good boy, Chicken Baby. As soon as I'm done with this video, you'll get a huggy and brushy. Brushy. Pretty nice. So we did test this in here. We jammed. We had our MP3 backing tracks with the drums. My wife plays her electric bass guitar. I'm playing an electric guitar 6-string. She's running through a pedal board that has it's a buffer tuner, a compressor, noise gate, mid boost phaser, cabinet simulator, limiter, and a preamp that has an XLR output. That preamp has a 3-band EQ and a distortion, which we use. We give it a little bit of grit on that. And I'm running through a new XMG30, which is a really good but cheap amp modeler cabinet simulator. So we're running that stuff right into this what did we use? What mixer did we use? Did we use this? We did use this.
Yeah, we just.
But I thought we had that thought we had the. Yeah, we did because so I must not have used this power amp. Cause see, we weren't using the 2.1 amp. We were using a 2-channel amp. So I must have just went out of the mixer. That's what I did. I went out of the mixer with a splitter cable, or going just RCA cables going into that amp. That's how I did that. So we did that test, and we had the subwoofer, the stock subwoofer speaker in here. My wife's playing a bass guitar, which doesn't really sit in that range of a subwoofer is low it's sub frequencies. So it was all right. There just wasn't enough reinforcement for the bass guitar, which this is going to solve that. The speaker that's in here is an Eminence Beta B, and I looked these up. They're really well made. They're $90 speakers. This company had them for $30. Like I need an 8-inch bass speaker, which is a weird, rare thing. And there it is, $30. So I couldn't have been happier. We cut these two. There's 2 panels. This first one was more of a decorative. It was like a dollar store mini chalkboard, and it was the perfect size. I removed the existing panel that countersinks it. It sits here, but then it goes in the hole and is reset about 3/4 of an inch, and that has the spring terminals on the outside. On the inside is screwed on PCB that has capacitors and coils, resonant coils for the crossover. So it's a stereo crossover that comes built into this, because it's filtering to send low frequency and stereo to the stereo woofer. The woofer has 4 connections. Positive, negative on one side, positive, negative on the other. And then the high frequencies, the mids and highs, go out these other 2 ports to run your satellite speakers. So I redesigned this, quote unquote, I hacked it and changed it from the stereo crossover to a monophonic direct connection from this 1/4-inch jack. And the only other thing that I did was I bored this hole and put this 1.5 inch. See, the thing is a 2-inch wouldn't really fit quite right, so I used 1.5 inch, and that's what I had. So for it to fit, it would have kind of gotten in the way of this a little bit. And it, with the way that, because this is so small, there isn't room on the speaker end of things, really. The tube in here, it goes to the front, then it 90s up, and then goes up to give a longer, more mass inside the tube. Now, there is computer software where you enter all the information about your driver, your speaker, all the information of the cubic mass, the inside of this cabinet, and then the frequency, the desired target frequency that you're trying to hit. So if it's for a bass guitar, would it have been 50? Would it have been 80? I'm not really sure. I would think it would have been, I would have done it for 60, 58, 80, somewhere in between there. Not below 80 though. I probably would have gone for like 54, I think. I don't know. I'm so far out of my league. And from just looking around, and I mean, this is the worst way to do it. I really failed on this. I really, really failed. I guessed my way through the sub. On the information that they give you when you buy the speaker, they said if you do not put a port, the speaker will operate as a full range. If you port it, it'll operate as a sub or a bass speaker, a bass driver. And I wanted a bass driver. So I did the best I could for closing my eyes and throwing and hoping that it makes a bullseye. And I know if you do this and you get it wrong, something called chuffing can happen. I don't know what that is. I'm sure if anyone hears this, they'll go, "Oh, it's chuffing!" Ah! Like anybody who would see this, who might own a soldering iron, would immediately attack me for doing it this way. I have the driver, I have saws, I have drills, I have screws. Like, I can build myself another cabinet. Do I want to do that? No. I want, this is exactly what I've been daydreaming about for so long, is a little box, small, that's not going to really hurt my wife and I too much to carry it properly if we bend at the knees, where we can get a little bit of low on reinforcement. So that's the micro rig. This is what we're going to be throwing in the Toyota and taking to the local park. Is it ideal? No, it's not. We have a 2x10. We have another one of these that's metal. This is plastic box. This is a little girl's makeup box is what this is. And the irony of that is not lost on me. We have a metal box with a real Behringer 1002B, which is their battery mixer that doesn't run on 9-volt batteries. It runs on lithium-ion packs. And we have an e-bike battery that's big. I think it's 36 volts. I thought it was 48. It's only 36. But and a 300 watt, a 600 watt. It's 150 per channel for the satellites and a 300 watt for the sub. And we have 10-inch PA speakers with compression driver horns. So we can load the Toyota up with that. It's a little bit like we use a little dolly to drag the stuff over there. And that's great. And like, we film all of this stuff. If you're new here, you can type in remote jam in the search box on my channel. And like, tons of videos going back 10 plus years will come up of me, my wife, and our kids sometimes, if you go back far enough, making music outdoors in remote locations in the forest preserves with battery powered gear that we've built, that we've slapped or lovingly hacked together quickly in order to play music, which is what we love to do. We don't think that we're talented musicians, because we're not. We just barely scrape by playing the simplest, most basic music we can, because we're not talented musicians. And that's not what we're here trying to say. We're not competing with you as a guitar player or your band. We're not in competition with that. Okay, this is just what we do for fun because we love to do it. And all that being said, I'm excited about this sub, although I know I did it wrong, and so I'm a little bit scared. We're going to be testing it out real soon, and I just wanted to share this sub with you guys and show. I can't just go, oh, here's this sub, it's part of the micro rig. So I had to get everything else up here and talk fast and kind of get through that. So that's the setup. This is what we're using. Like, if you go on this channel, there'll be battery powered bass amp. That video has a real lot of views, and that's me with some like pile, like 15 watt little amp, and I plug a zoom into it and play some bass, and I'm real excited about it because it's one of the first things that we built for this solution, which has always been the thorn in the side. It's always the bass. And every time I build something, I think, oh, this is going to be great. And it's not. It never is. It always sounds terrible. It farts. It's distorted. So it's like, just let me enjoy the time in between when I put this together until when we actually do the test. let me have that and milk that for as long as I can. So we're at the 20-minute mark, you guys. What I always like to say is, well, first of all, thank you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If they're nice, if you're going to be negative, I shadow ban you. It's called mute user from this channel or remove. It's something I click on it and then my problem is solved. Other than that, it's hot. I'm running the air while the video is being recorded. I usually don't do that, but it's like 77 degrees with 52% humidity in here. We're sitting right underneath the air conditioner, and hey, I do the best I can. What I normally like to say is, try to stay cool. Hug your pets. That's the really important thing. See, I've been slipping on that, as you can hear. He needs a hug. And peace.